Hello, welcome to Paul's Take, and this is my take on the big question, am I too old to mountain bike? Well, if you were like, maybe say you like to ride bikes, and then you decided, well, you know what, it seems cool that everybody around me seems to be mountain biking, but is it too late in life for me to start mountain biking? I don't know. Is it? Well, I'll tell you, I'm 47, and I love getting out there on a mountain bike, going doing single track trails. It's my favorite. I love it. Now, 47, I guess, depends on how old you are. Might be young or could be old. If you're 18, you're an old man, and you're probably not even watching this. But if you say 57 or 67, you're like, he's a young guy. Who cares about him? But truth be told, my good friend that I ride with all the time, he is 57. And he loves it. He actually goes out more than I do. Now, he probably goes out 3 or 4 days a week, as long as the weather holds up. And then we go out on the trails, we ride. And one thing about trails, you must understand, that there's different levels. Well, let's see here. Well, a lot of trails are not marked, but a lot of times if you go online and you search the local trails, they'll tell you, like skiing, if it's a harder trail or a beginner trail. But don't be discouraged either way. There's some local trails in my neighborhood. Of course, there's no ratings because it's a local trail. Guys in the neighborhood just made them up. And they're great. They're really good. Trails, that is. And one thing you gotta understand, when you're riding down a trail, you're not ripping, some people do, but that rip through a trail, but you work your way up to it, of course. But if you're new to a trail, you take your time, you ride slowly, and then you're in a controlled manner. And then if something comes up, like if you see a tree that's laying over the trail or some rocks or something, you don't have to go for it. You can, at that point, stop the bike and walk over any obstacles. So you don't necessarily have to try to push yourself, do something that you probably might not be able to handle. Because the truth of the matter is, the more you're out there, there's probably different levels, and then once you kind of master one, you might be up for a more of a challenge, and you kind of work your way up. You don't have to try to master the hardest trail on the first day, or if you're riding with somebody, you can always slow down. Like I do is, if you're following me, you're probably not going to keep up, except for going uphill, because my endurance is terrible. But you just take your pace. You go slow. Don't try to keep up, because the leader will always stop. I'll go and I'll ride, if I realize after a while, after a fun section, oh, my follower's not right behind me, I'll just hang out and wait and they'll catch up. Give me a chance to rest anyways. But the point is, take your time, do a controlled ride, and you'll be fine. What kind of bike do you need? Well, that all depends on you. If you're older, like myself, I would just, you know what I would do? Really, go to a bike shop, because what it is there's different types of mountain bikes. And to somebody that's not really familiar with mountain bikes, they all look about alike. You can't really tell from one from another. But some are more designed for downhill. Some are designed for cross country. Some are more like a neutral, I guess. But you don't really need a downhill bike if you're an older person getting into mountain biking. You might decide later, you're like, hey, I'm getting so good, I like going down big old giant hills really fast. So you want to get something with more suspension. But starting off, like a nice neutral bike, I like myself bigger tires. I go 29-inch wheels. They go over obstacles better. And the ones that are smaller, they might have more meat on the tires, more like knobs. But unless you're going real aggressive, you really don't need that much meat. You'd probably be fine with just like a standard general tire. Now, the one thing about mountain bikes, or mountain biking, is that as you progress, you realize what you kind of like, what you kind of wish. But you don't really know until you start riding, I don't think. You might have an idea. Like, for instance, I personally like to go a little faster. So I might get a smaller tire so I can go faster. But if you don't, but it handles bumps worse. They don't handle bumps as well. So if you want to handle bumps better, you want to get a bigger, fatter tire. You know what I'm saying? And then suspension, front suspension, rear suspension, both, neither. that's a lot of kind of personalization. You personalize it what you like. You might say, well, you know what, I like a lighter bike, and I don't care about the full suspension. Then you don't need probably the rear. You probably always want front suspension on a mountain bike, but you might not need the rear. But I think down the road, everybody kind of wants full suspension. So if you have the money, you're like, yeah, you know what, I'll drop $1,200 and get me a full suspension bike. That'd be a cheap one too. But with $700, you get a really nice front suspension bike. So, and the front suspension without the rear is lighter. So keep that in mind. But the most important thing is probably, if you have a mountain bike, then go for it. Just go out there, find out where the trails are. You can, talk to people, find out where, like, maybe a nice, easier trail. I know some trails have a lot of climbs. I don't like the ones where you got to climb. Do a lot of that, wears me out. But you might like that. Some people are into that challenge of climbing up big hills. And then you get one thing nice about a big climb is then you get a big descent. So you go down a lot. I prefer a more flat trail myself. I'm not in great shape. But, so what you need, when you go trailing, you need a helmet. That's required at any trail. And then you need a bike. And just go for it. Just take your time. You can go on your own or with somebody else. I guess it's good to have a buddy system. But one thing I like about going by myself is you really can go at your own pace. You don't have to try to keep up with anybody. And you have to worry about somebody like behind you you might be thinking, oh, this guy wants me to hurry up, so then I try to go a little faster, past your comfort zone. So when you're by yourself, you kind of go at your own pace. This is what I like. You totally can. And here's the etiquette on a trail. If somebody's behind you, so like say you're riding, you're all by yourself, you wait, there's nobody around, so you start riding, you're taking your time, you're enjoying. I mean, the best thing about bike riding, mountain biking, is the environment. It's so nice. So you're riding on the trail, and somebody's coming up from behind. This guy's been riding for a long time, and he's a pro, he's flying, so just, you're probably not going super fast anyways. Slow down to a nice safe location. Don't have to rush off or anything, kill yourself. But you slow over, you stop, pull over, let the guy pass you up. That's good etiquette. And then coming up, kind of the same way. If a person's coming in the opposite direction, you're flying, pull over to the side. Let the person go through. So you let the faster people get out of the way. You just keep on going. You don't want to if you're slower, it's fine. It's wrong with being slow. Just, pull over, yield to the fast, crazy people, and they'll love you for it. They understand. Everybody started off somewhere. And a lot of times, like, after winter, I come back, I'm in terrible shape. I gotta let everybody pass me up because I can't even keep up. But then as the season gets on, I get faster, start passing everybody. So it's the same thing. So there's no shame in it. It's just what will irritate people is if you have bad etiquette and you block the trail. You're insisting on, well, I was here first, I'm going to keep on riding, which really doesn't happen. I'm letting you know just in case you haven't been out there. So take your time. Yeah, go for it. Clip-ons versus non-clip-ons. There are just a lot of different things, technical things. I don't prefer them. I don't like them. Some people love them. I don't. I like to be able to get out of my pedal real easily. But maybe you've been riding street bikes, and you're used to it, and you like it. Well, you can wear them. And then if your trails are not too bad, that's fine. If you know how to get out of them real smoothly, that's fine as well. But personally, I don't like them. But that's preference, personal preference. But yeah, there's people that are starting off late, and some people start off young. So you got people that are real young, or anybody that's new is going to take their time and go slow. And then as you progress, if you do it on a regular basis, you'll get better. I get smoked by older guys all the time. There's guys out there, I don't know if they're retired or what, but they ride a lot apparently, and they will smoke me up and down the hill. And they're on the flats everywhere. They just go through it like nothing. And I'm like, jeez. And I'm talking 65 years old, and they look great. I'm telling you, bike riding is a great way to stay in shape. And I see plenty of guys in their 60s that are like athletes, and they'll just fly through the trails like nothing. So you gotta start somewhere. You build your endurance pretty quick too. You'd be amazed. So go out there, take your time. You know, like I said, you don't have to try to go for every obstacle in the beginning. Go slow. Take your time. I know actually going over some obstacles is better to go faster, but you build up to it. You build up to it. You go, smaller obstacles, and then you get bigger obstacles. Challenge yourself, but take it easy. There's no rush. Take your time. You'll get good. The point is, get out there, be in nature. It's the most beautiful place to be. To me, it's like equivalent to skiing, but in the summerish area series, or summertime when or in the spring or fall, or it could be depending on where you are all year round. But it's that magical to me. I love it. People spend tons of money to go skiing. We can go on these trails for nothing, except for the price of the bike, transportation. But usually, the trails are usually free. Some places you got to pay to get in, but it's really $5 or something. It's real little. Anyhow, that's my take. I say go for it. You're not too old. Just don't go crazy. Work your way up to it and then enjoy. Have a blast. So have fun mountain biking, just if you haven't done it before, or just get into it. And wear a helmet and go for it. Thanks for watching Paul's Take. That's my take on riding. As you're old like me, I'm gonna go ride tomorrow.